Paper Mario the Origami King has a lot of expectations on its back. Will it bring the Paper Mario series back to the glory days? Will it continue to refine the series in the direction Sticker Star started? Actually, all of the above and none of the above at the same time. Hey everybody, it's Xeno here, back with another video for you. Today we're doing a review discussion of Paper Mario the Origami King. I recently finished the game a few days ago, and I've been itching to talk about this one. It's an interesting experience, and I have a lot of I've had a lot of good things to say about it and a lot of not so good things to say about it, so you're gonna hear them all right here. Let's jump into it. I have to start off by describing my history with the Paper Mario series, because I've had a bit of an interesting one as far as the general consensus goes, I'd say. So the only other Paper Mario game I've actually played is Paper Mario Color Splash. I've heard tales of the greatness of Paper Mario 64 and Thousand Year Door on GameCube, and I probably should play them, but I haven't. Also, I have an interesting story about Super Paper Mario. I was at a Blockbuster once. I was gonna buy it. I bought it. I took it home. The disc didn't work. I took it back. Bought another one. Took it home. The disc still didn't work. So apparently they just had a whole selection of faulty Super Paper Mario discs. So that's how I was robbed of my experience of Super Paper Mario. But anyway, back on topic. I love the Color Splash. I really, really like Color Splash. I did a whole Let's Play on it. It is aged rather badly. I mean, it was kind of bad from the beginning, but I still have a lot of really fond memories from that Let's Play, and I like Color Splash. I really do. So moving on to Origami King, when I first saw the trailer for this game, I was split in half, basically, because yes, I enjoyed Color Splash. I think that was a very good experience. You can build on that and continue to put the series in a good place going forward. But we'd also had rumors and stuff about them returning back to the original Paper Mario style and all the great things I've heard about the originals and how much I actually want to play them myself. But I kind of wanted them to go back in that direction too at the same time, even though I am kind of blind to what that direction fully is since I haven't played the game, but I still have heard about it. I know what an RPG is, and I like RPGs, so I would have liked them to go back in that direction. But no, what we did is kind of merge those two together while at the same time being completely different. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what Origami King borrows from the old games, what it does new itself, and just what it is, basically. And we're going to start from the very beginning when you boot it up. Also, spoilers, because I haven't said that yet. We are going all in here today. Everything. So if you have not finished the game, run. When the game starts, you immediately get that sense of Color Splash because you see Luigi's go-kart from Mario Kart and Paper Mario Color Splash. And that was a nice surprise to see that there. So that's already some good vibes going. The good side of Color Splash, I like to see that. So when you get to Peach's Castle, that's where the trailer comes in and you see this amazing scene with Peach asking if you will be reborn and folded like me. And I absolutely love that stuff. When the game goes to that level and just kind of goes like all out creepiness, weird, like that, and it does it a few times. That's like the best parts of the game, when Paper Mario can disturb you and just like totally catch you off guard. Those are the best parts of Paper Mario to me. So anyway, you're thrown in the dungeon. You see basically Bowser's minions being folded, and it's like a torture sequence. You get to hit Bowser with the hammer. I always thought that was great. Before you can pull him down, you just hit him with the hammer. And then you guys get the heck out of there. You meet King Ollie first, right? And King Ollie is interesting because I like him as a character, except for at the end there's some with that. But like, I like how menacing they went with him, even though I'm not a big fan of his character design. Like, it grew on me a little bit as we go, because he's literally just Origami. But I mean, I don't know. He doesn't seem like the menacing villain type just from looking at him. But as the game goes on, like, you see more of, like, he's willing to do some pretty messed up stuff. And yeah, the castle flies away. Mario and Bowser and Olivia try to get away in the clown car, and it doesn't work. They get shot down, and Mario and Olivia land in a pretty cool forest, and we have no idea where Bowser went at this point. This is where you're introduced to the game's confetti mechanic, and I actually really like this. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of it in Color Splash because it's basically the same mechanic where you go around the world, fill in spots with color in that game. In this game, it's just literally not so bottomless pits, and you fill those in. I like this better than the Color Splash, just filling in the paint, because it has like more of a effect on the world, I guess you could say. Like, okay, there's some color lost there, but no, I'm actually filling the world back in, and they can use that as a roadblock too. And it's satisfying. It's satisfying filling the world back in, and I don't know why, but it is. You explore the forest for a little bit, and then you get into one of the game's best parts, which is when it shows its character. When it goes in with the script, and it has wacky, weird stuff going on, and you meet the trees. There's the trees, and then there's Grand Sappy. And Grand Sappy was cut down by a toad, which, if you think about it, it's rather gruesome. And you need to find a seed to help Grand Sappy get his old power back, get that going. So then you go find the seed, you come back, and his face is literally eaten out by Paper Macho enemies, which we will be meeting here in just a second. But that was messed up. Like, that's another moment in this game where it's like, geez. If you think about the undertones of this, it's like, hey, this is excruciatingly dark. But no, you have the confetti bag, you fix his face, give him the seed, he turns into this gimungo buff tree. There's a dance number that literally totally caught me off guard, and I loved it. And that is one of the reasons I love this game. Like, when it has moments like this, where it's just like that, that's great. It's time to get a little bit into one of the things I'm not so hot about on this game, though, which is the battling system, which you will be doing throughout the entire game. So, as we all know, experience is not in this game. That was a thing that caused a lot of backlash for some people. I might have been included in that, because where's your progression system without that? There's no point in fighting enemies, and I can confirm, unless you're going for all the collectibles in the game, and you want all the accessories, all the little treasure collectible things you get, which are very expensive, no, there is really no point in battling, because for your basic needs, you are not going to need a lot of coins. I never really used the Toad Crowd. I never really bought extra time, except for a few times. And you can get through the game pretty fine without coins for the most part. There are some gated off instances, but yeah, you're not gonna have to fight that much if you don't want to. And even more of a problem is that I a lot of times felt like I didn't want to fight. I felt like the fighting was kind of an obstacle just there to mess with me. Like, I want to get on with the game, the exploration, and the story, and the events of this game. And I get gated off by these battles that are just not that interesting for the most part. At the beginning, the battles are very, very easy to like a brain dead degree. And it does get better as it goes. The battles get harder, and you have puzzles that are harder to figure out. But the thing is that the puzzles really are the battles. There's not really a strategy to how you select enemies and fight them, because depending on how many enemies you line up, you'll always have enough turns to hit them all. And if you play your cards right, you can usually get the battle done in just one turn. And it really does seem like the puzzle aspect is the bigger part of the battle system here than the actual battling. And the thing is that the puzzles for the most part aren't really that fun. As I said, they're usually brain dead easy, or just a little too hard for you to figure out, so you just don't figure them out because it's just a waste of your time to try and figure them out. and you just end up with a pretty not satisfying battle system. So as we go on, the forest is saved, Grand Sappy is saved, and they will finally let us out. And as we go on, we find this little like toad camp place, like a toad campsite, and this is where you're introduced to one of I think I like this mechanic. So as you go throughout the world, you will find dozens and dozens of toads. It's literally like a Korok in Breath of the Wild, except in Origami King, it's a toad. And the great thing is that they always have one-liners to say once you save them. And I know for some people this might get old as you do like hundreds and hundreds of these, but for me, it never really got old. I just enjoy seeing toads do stupid one-liners for the most part, and it's hilarious. And there are some really good ones. So I like the toad mechanic. It gives another layer of exploration to this world, which is what I'd say is the best part of this game. They were trying to do an adventure game, basically, while also appealing to the RPG fans, and I don't think that both of those mixed very well. I think you should have just went in one direction. So rather than try to implement this puzzle system, just go full adventure or full RPG. But anyway, in the campground, there's also radios that blast music, and you can hit them off the pole, and I found that extremely hilarious. So after that, we go to Toad Town. We see Toad Town. It is totally abandoned. See what I did there? And you got to find a way to Peach's Castle, or at least to the remains of Peach's Castle. Why? Because I forgot to mention that part. Luigi's hat fell at the end of the sequence where Peach's Castle rose up, because Luigi was looking for the key to Princess Peach's Castle, and he probably died during the rising of the castle. You know, King Ollie probably just killed him or something. So you go throughout Toad Town, you meet the paper macho enemies, which are the things that can eat the environment, and they're pretty cool. I like that they are in real time. They're battles in the overworld. It fits the game a lot better, actually, and it's surprising because I enjoy doing these battles a lot more than the puzzle ones, because it's not taking me out of the action. They're more fun to do than the puzzle ones because they're just more engaging. And yeah, that's just another interesting layer to this, that they have real-time battles that I find more interesting than the turn-based ones for the most part. So you go through the sewers to get to the castle, and once you're there, you find Luigi stuck in a wall, which is the exact same place where you found Olivia, actually. Well, I mean, a different wall, but they were both stuck in the wall, which is a running gag in this game, the place between dimensions. But I like how Luigi in this game is actually used more. Like in Color Splash, he just kind of showed up at the very end, and that was his role. He was a ride to Bowser's Castle. And yeah, I like how he's used more. I don't know, I feel like the joke of him just looking for the key to Princess Peach's Castle is a little overused. Gets a little old point, but I still do like seeing the dude. I love Luigi, best character in the Mario universe, so anytime we see more of him is great. After that, we find the first streamer, and that's where we're running. That's where we're going to, because if you didn't know, the goal of this game is to release the 5 streamers around Peach's Castle before you then go to Peach's Castle, which is that's how it's done. I do like it though, how you always have this guiding element in the overworld telling you where to go next. Like that is always going to be guiding you, just a streamer in the sky. And that's a cool dynamic. I like that. So you go on to Picnic Road, you're harassed by these Koopas that tell you something about a Vellumental Shrine. And at first it sounded a little bit like there was going to be a cult there. And I kind of wished there was going to be, because I thought that would be an interesting direction. But no, it's not quite to that level. And we'll talk a little bit about that after we talk about this next part, where you go up the mountain. I can't remember what the mountain is called. Overlook Mountain, maybe? Overlook something. And that is where you find the end of the first streamer. And it is the red streamer. And that's where you find out that, hey, you need to go beat the elemental guy before you can go do this. Because he raised the ground so that you could not get into the entrance of the I don't even know what it's called. It's just like it's a tower on top of a mountain, and yes, So you find the different keys to the Vellumental Shrine as you go throughout the Overlook Mountain place, and when you come back, you can open the shrine, and it's a fun little sequence because it's basically like a crappy museum inside, and that's what these guys were hyping up and everything. And then you get to the end, and you break down the thing and go into uncharted territory. This is where we meet the first Vellumental boss, and these guys are not as cool as the other bosses. I'm just gonna say it. There are two categories of bosses in this game: the Legion of Stationary and the Vellumentals. And the Vellumentals are basically the not as cool dudes. They're just the 4 different elements: the water, earth, fire, and I know you're gonna think I'm gonna say air here, but no, ice. It's ice. I know it hurt me too. But yeah, so these fights are just not as interesting because these guys don't have any personality to them. But it does bring up the topic of the boss fights in this game, because I think this is the one area where the battle system actually justifies itself, because I actually enjoy these battles. I don't even know where to begin describing these battles, but basically, instead of you being in the middle of the ring, you're on the outside of the ring. The boss is in the middle. You need to find your way to the boss using arrows on the field and a bunch of other crap, and just beat him up, you know? And then you can also use Vellumental powers inside battle as you unlock them all and everything, and 1,000-fold arms too. There's a lot of stuff going on, and that's part of why I actually enjoy these battles a lot more. And once you beat the Vellumental and go on to the end of the Red Streamer and fight the first of the Legion of Stationary, that's where you find out just how interesting art supplies can be as a villain. So they basically play up the color pencils as literal missiles, and it's just a great sequence. And then you fight him, and it's just, you see the personality that art supplies can have, and it's amazing. Anyway, with the Red Streamer down, I can say, honestly, this is probably my least favorite of all of the streamers in the game, which, I mean, that's not too unexpected, I guess. It is kind of the tutorial area. You're still getting your bearings. The battles are not as hard yet, and it's easing you into it, I'd say. Good thing is, though, that the next area of the game is probably the best area of the game, if you ask me. So, as you go on to the next area, you meet your first partner of the game, which partners work a bit differently in this game, as they're not exactly partners. They're more supporting characters that sometimes will help you in battle. You don't even control them, which is one area I think this game really missed out on. If it wanted to actually even put them in battle, should have actually had a real purpose for them in battle. I mean, you could, okay, I don't know. But anyway, Bobby is who you meet next. He is your partner character for the Blue Ribbon, and he is amazing. He is literally the best character I have ever seen. I really like this guy. So you arrive in the next area, Autumn Mountain. Beautiful looking place. It's like, seriously, the graphical fidelity of this game, it's just amazing. The art style is so good. And I know Color Splash itself was, it also looked amazing. And Origami King it looks even better. And it might be one of the best looking games on Switch. Seriously, this art style and everything, it flows. It's so good. It's so good. I could talk about that all day. So here you go on to the Water Vellumental now, so you can get the Water Vellumental power and all that. But before you get there, you have a little accident with Bobby. The sequence is literally just god tier. It's so good. So Bobby falls off the bridge, not knowing that Paper Macho enemies are enemies, and tries to befriend them. It knocks him off the bridge. Mario and Olivia go down to save him. It's a whole sequence. It's amazing. And you save him, and it's great. And that's where the bond with Bobby kind of starts to grow. Also, Olivia, I haven't really talked about her up to this point, but she's an amazing partner character. I really, really liked her. Like, at the beginning, she was a bit too talkative for my liking, but as it went on and she was not doing tutorial stuff as much, as a character, she became really good. I enjoyed her. It was also around this area the battles started to get a little more challenging and better, just not brain dead, and I appreciated that, as well as just everything about Autumn Mountain. Autumn Mountain is the best part of the game, like that whole area, just the Blue Streamer area, not just Autumn Mountain, but it's really, really good. Just looking back on my time with the game, that's the part I remember the most fondly. So you float down the river with the toad guy, and he takes you to where the blue ribbon is, and that is Shogun Studios. Shogun Studios is basically an amusement park with Eastern influence in it, and it's amazing. It's so good. Just this whole chapter, you go around the abandoned amusement park, basically. You try to learn a way to get into the front gate, and along the way you have all kinds of crazy antics. Find Luigi in a power room and help him out there. It's great. It's wonderful. I love this whole area, and I don't even know if I need to say more than that. It's just really good. If you played the game, you probably understand it as well. This is really fun. But it just gets even better, because as you go into the tower and find out that it is basically a multi-level theater, which is a really cool design idea. It's plays. You start watching plays, and Mario is part of the plays, and it keeps hinting at who the boss is going to be as the overarching playwright of all these, I guess, and it just gets even better and better and better, and then you have the boss fight and see the boss come out, which is Rubber Band, and it's even better. And I love this boss fight too. It's so good. Like I said, this game does a lot of things I really like, and a lot of things I'm just like, no. But when it does things I really like them. So you beat Rubber Band. Next streamer we follow is the yellow one. Yeah, yellow. So as you go down to Sandpaper Valley or whatever, and you're about to enter the cave that will lead to the next streamer, Ollie appears. Ollie, you know that guy, the main villain of the game. Yeah, that guy. That one. Mm-hmm. That guy, yeah. He tries to get Olivia to join him as he wanted her to in the first place, and she says no. And he drops a boulder on her. A literal giant boulder. And if she's not saved soon, she will be flattened forever, and I guess that basically means she's dead? This is when Bobby gets an idea and says we have to go to the Great Sea to find something that will help us save Olivia. And it was at this point that I started to question if this thing was going to be Bobby's fuse, and if he was actually going to sacrifice himself to free Olivia. But I was like, no. This is Paper Mario. This is a Nintendo game. They're not gonna do like a literal kill off a character. That's not gonna happen. So then you go on to the Great Sea for a little detour. You find the next ribbon, which is the purple one. So that's foreshadowing for later. And you go to the Princess Peach, which is basically Princess Peach's cruise ship. And I love this section here too as well, because it's mysterious, you know? I like a good mystery. So you're like, what happened to the ship? It's abandoned. All the toads are like gone. So you go to the VIP lounge, you find Bobby's case that has the stuff in it that we're gonna need. And it is, I can't remember exactly how it happens. No, it's not kidnapped until we get outside. But when we get outside, we see the boss of this area, which is Gooper Blooper. It's a nice deep cut from Super Mario Sunshine. This guy never gets enough love. So Gooper Blooper is back, and he's a Paper Macho Gooper Blooper. So it's not a ring-based battle. It's a just overworld Paper Macho battle, which is cool. That's like one of the few times in the game that you have a Paper Macho boss battle, and those are always a lot of fun. I enjoy those. So you defeat Gooper Blooper, and I don't think that Bobby reveals what is in the box until you get back to the valley and try to save Olivia. But yeah, it's not until we get back. But when we do get back, and Bobby does reveal what it is, it's exactly what I thought it is. He actually found his fuse, because from the very beginning, Bobby doesn't have a fuse. He had an amnesia, and he didn't even know why he didn't have his fuse. But then he gets amnesia back and everything. It's kind of a minor plot point. But anyway, that's the item he went to get, his fuse. And he does what a bob-omb does best and makes an impact. and sacrifices himself to save Olivia. And that was just a really, really good sequence. Like, as I said, I like it the most when Paper Mario goes places you don't think it's going to go. And this definitely went a place I didn't think it was going to go. Of course, I hate losing Bobby. I said he was the best character ever, so it hurt. It really hurt when that happened. But as you go on, you see it hurt Olivia too, because she knows that basically Bobby sacrificed himself for her, and she goes into a state of depression basically. And you use the paper macho Goomba thing you found in Shogun Studios, and there's a whole side about that where it makes her laugh, and you make her laugh again and feel better. And you were suggested that by the ghost of Bobby. If you haven't played the game, this is probably making no sense, but why are you watching this if you haven't played the game? Go play the game. It's good. It's a good game. So we lose the best partner in the game, but it's not long before we find another partner, which is the Professor Toad. And this guy is kind of just a letdown, I'd say. He's not a very interesting character at all. He doesn't really have any character traits besides, oh, hey, look, I'm a professor, and I'm looking for Captain Toad. I think that's how you say it. Captain Toad. Capitan Toad. Toad. One of those. I don't know. I like it. So the desert area in this game is actually pretty massive, and you have the shoe car to run around in, and I absolutely love the shoe car. The shoe car is amazing. Shoe car is best car. And Sniffit City is here too, or Shroom City, or whatever the heck you want to call it. It's a really cool location. I love when you get into the hotel and you hear that music in the pool area, and it's so good. It's just, that was a moment where I was like, dang. I'm vibing with this. This is good. So there's a series of puzzles you have to solve and things you have to do to actually unlock the Temple of Shrooms, which is where the next streamer is. And this part can get a little grating, I guess. It's a little long, but once you get it done, the reward is pretty good because the Temple of Shrooms is amazing. That's another great area. So to get to the temple, you fight the Fire of Elemental, which is probably the hardest of Elemental to fight, and it's kind of a fight, but once you do that, you activate the 4 towers, you go to the thing, Temple of Shrooms, get inside, party time. It's great. So there's another whole mystery unlocked in the temple where you see toads, but the toads don't have faces, and it's another thing where if you think about it enough, it's a little disturbing, just a little bit, because just a little disturbing. As you make your way through the temple, you find music discs, and as you get to the end of the temple, you find the DJ, the one toad in this place that has not had his face removed. And he's playing songs for this mysterious figure locked behind a door who's been taking away the faces of the toads. And he says, we got to find the right song for the boss to come out and get on the dance floor. And then we find the right song, and then he also wants a bunch of toads on the dance floor to dance with him too. So then we go find a bunch of toads, and then we have musical dance number. Great musical dance number. It's great. It's wonderful. But the introduction of this boss is really great. Just gets on the dance floor and ruins the great dance sequence with his terrible moves. Absolutely horrendous. And you find out that this boss is the Hole Puncher, which I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be Scissors at first, just because I thought Hole Puncher might be a little bit of a deep cut for office supplies. That sounds like that's such a weird thing to say. But anyway, yes, it's the Hole Puncher. It's another great boss fight. As I said, I like the boss fights in this game, especially the Legion of Stationary ones. They have a lot of fun ideas in them, and it kind of justifies the ring battles system in itself. I feel like the actual main battles you have with just enemies are kind of boring, but then you get into the boss battles with the ring system, and they're actually a lot of fun. Once the Hole Puncher is defeated, Sniff City turns into Sniff and Toad City, I guess, and all the toads are back, and they learn to live together, and that's great and everything. Professor Toad stays in the desert. You cannot take him outside of the desert. He doesn't die or anything like Bobby. He just kind of like is just a coward who stays in the desert and won't help me on my adventure to save the world. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks, Professor Toad. Never did like you anyway. You're kind of a flat character. Ha, get it? Because he's paper. Anyway, on to the purple ribbon. The purple ribbon is the ribbon in the Great Sea, and I didn't really talk about the Great Sea earlier when we went to the cruise ship, but that's because you don't really explore the Great Sea that much until you get to this part of the game, because most of it is blocked off by a fog until you get to this part of the game. Oh yeah, also I forgot to mention Captain Teode, who is an ancient member of the ancient race, and you find him in the desert with Professor Toad, and he goes back to the museum. Not Professor Toad, he stays, but he goes back to the museum, gets the Super Marino, which is his old vessel that he stole from the other people that we'll meet later, and then he's a guy, and then you go to the ocean, and let me translate. Basically, Captain Teode is an ancient captain, legendary. His submarine was on display in the museum, and he gets it back and teams up with the other Captain Toad that you found earlier, who sailed you to the Princess Peach, and then you guys all go sailing together, and now you have access to finding treasure under the ocean, and that's what happened. Comparisons are very quick to be drawn to Wind Waker in this chapter, because it literally kind of is ripping it off, and I don't think that's a bad thing. That's kind of a good thing. Wind Waker is great, so anybody that wants to rip that off, go ahead, sure. You'll have my blessing. This area of the game is kind of conflicting to me, because I do enjoy the whole Great Sea element, sailing around the chart, basically the Wind Waker elements. I like that. But then you also have the point where you're just going around all these islands and nothing is really happening. You're just exploring them, and it's just exploration. There's none of those moments where dumb stuff is happening, or you have great story moments or anything like that. You're kind of missing those in this chapter, which is why I'm kind of conflicted on it, because exploration wise it's pretty great, but then you're missing that other part. So I'm conflicted. That's my final opinion on this chapter. So you go to all these islands, you find out about a key that is apparently around here. You go to the southern island to find the key that Luigi apparently has. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that part. Luigi left a note in the chest where the key was gonna be, that he found it. He's going off with it, and that's where you gotta go next. Go find Luigi, find the key. So you find Luigi and you find the key, and you also find out that this island is a bit of a special one, the one that Luigi is sitting on when you find him with the key, because this is the island where Olivia and Ollie were born. This is the island where the Origami Master lives, and I was really hoping that he was not going to be a toad, but as I kind of expected, he was a toad. That's one thing I just really don't get about the Paper Mario series anymore. They don't do original characters or anything. They'll do all this really out there stuff, really tread in the line stuff, like, okay, a character died. Peach is basically doing this whole cult stuff, and there's even more as we go on. And we can't have original characters though. We can do all this other really tread the line stuff, but we can't have any original characters. Man, that hurts. So anyway, you learn about Olivia and Ollie's backstory here, how Ollie folded Olivia, so he's basically more of a father than a brother, but yeah, that's a whole story. Also, the origami craft guy, he folded Ollie, and Ollie was all like, dude, I'm mad at you for some reason. And we find out about that reason later, and it's kind of stupid anyway. But if there's one thing that Ollie as a character is lacking, it's good motivation. That is the lesson of the day, folks. But anyway, back onto the purple ribbon and all that stuff. So you find the sea tower, and the sea tower needs 3 different keys to get into it, right? So we need to find those keys. So you use the key Luigi gave you to enter this super cool underwater island diamond thing. And you go in there, and that's where the keys are. And as cool as this area is, and it looks and all that, it's kind of just like, like I was not a big fan of the area overall. Okay, so the challenges in the front to get the keys they're fine. I like them. But then you have to fight the Ice Elemental as well, and go through its dungeon and all that. And I was really on that whole area there. I don't know. It just seemed like it dragged on and on and on and on and on. So the Ice Elemental is a bear. You beat him up, and that's the final Velelemental. So now you have access to all of them, and no, you will not have to fight a Velelemental again. So that's good news. You use the Ice Velelemental powers to access the final areas of the thing to get the keys that you don't have yet. And once you have all of the orb key things, you go back to the Sea Tower. But the Sea Tower is not really a tower because it's only like 2 floors large, and it's all themed around the Velelementals. So, yeah, I was not a big fan of that part of the game either. I mean, the puzzles were okay, but it was kind of just still dragging on. Like I said, exploration in this chapter is good, but it kind of drags on a bit. You are rewarded with one of the best boss fights in the game, though, when you get to the top of the tower, which is the Tape. And he is literally just a gangsta. That's his whole personality. And I love it. I love it so much. And then when you get him off his tape dispenser, because there's 2 phases to the battle, you take out the tape dispenser, and then you take out the tape once he gets out of the dispenser, right? It's basically like his car, you know? Because he's a gangster, so it's his car. He's like, hey, you smashed up my car, dude. And I'm like, yeah, you know? But when he gets out of the tape dispenser, the tape flies up. He's got like the signature slicked up haircut, and it's absolutely amazing. I love it. I love it so much. So good. Once you beat the tape, though, you are thrown right into the next area as you literally just fly up into it because it's in the sky. Shangri Spa is a very, very interesting locale in this game. So you walk in the front door, and there's literal angel toads, and I was not expecting to see that in this game, but that's what I saw when I walked in the front door. So that was already a good sign for what was to await me. You basically find out that this area is a heavenly spa area, and as you go through it, you're like, okay, so this is pretty cool, but what's the twist? What's gonna happen? Where's the ribbon? What's going on here? And then you walk out the entrance, and you see Bowser's castle is literally just plomped itself right on the dining hall of this fine establishment, and then you get to see Kamek. Let me just say, I love that they actually acknowledged Kamek and not just said, okay, it's Magic Koopa. No, Kamek is a character. Kamek is an underused character and a character that I love, so I'm so glad to see him get some more just attention here, and it's great. So you learn about Kamek and how it's basically his fault that the castle crashed because he hit the wrong button, and yeah, it's great. He's a groundskeeper now, and all of Bowser's minions are basically paying off their debt by scrubbing the floors of Hyrule, except it's Shanghai Spas. Just when he thought it couldn't get any better, Bowser Jr. flies out of nowhere, and he's like, "Dad, I'm coming to help. I'm here to help. I know you're in there, and I'm going to help you out." And you see a pair of scissors flying out of Bowser's castle, and then just slices him in half. It goes straight through him. You see the screen go red, and there's a black outline of Bowser Jr., and he just falls apart. And it's the expression on his face beforehand. It's priceless. I love this so much. So the next objective of this chapter is to basically restore Bowser Jr. by going to all of the restorative springs around the spa. And as you do, it's a really fun section. You go through this whole jungle area, and it's a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed this section. It was good. I am going to complain about something right here, though, and that is that Bowser Jr. is still in his clown car. I like that they give an explanation for it. We need the clown car. That's the whole reason we need Junior. We could have left Junior if he didn't have the clown car. But I'm just so sick of seeing Bowser Jr. in his clown car. I was introduced to Junior as Junior. He was Shadow Mario. He had the paintbrush and the thing. He wasn't running around a clown car. He wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, okay? I like it when Junior is not stuck in his clown car. But as I said, there's kind of a reason for it here, so I'm going to let it slip this time, I guess. As you go to the final spring, you find a Shy Guy TV show, and I love this. It's basically another version of Sniff It or With It from Paper Mario Color Splash, except it's Shy Guys finished last instead of Sniff It or With It. And it's great. I love it when Paper Mario does this stuff. It's good. And then comes another one of my favorite parts of the game, which is when you infiltrate Bowser's castle. So, of course, there's this boss guarding the castle outside, and that's the whole reason you couldn't go in from the get-go. That's why you need the Junior and the clown car, right? So you beat that boss, you go inside, and you just find there's a bunch of origami enemies everywhere. They're feasting, they're having a great time. But Kamek, it has to go and say, or is it Bowser Jr.? I don't know. One of them says something. They all start staring at you. They're about to go maul you to death. But then the big fight scene starts when all the paper minions come in from the speech Kamek just gave outside. I forgot to mention that part. It was a great speech and everything. I love you, Kamek. I love you, Kamek. But yes, the paper minions come inside. They fight the other minions. It's a great set piece. I absolutely love it. So there's a giant brawl going on in the main hall. You're trying to get up to where the boss is and say Bowser. But before you can get in there, you need the key. So you go up to the side to go to Kamek's quarters where the key is. And as you go, he gets abducted. And then Olivia gets abducted. And then you meet Luigi and he has the key. Because of course he has the key. And as you go back outside, you find what abducted them. And this is such another one of those like, okay, you guys are really willing to go there moments. Because you see two figures come out from behind the pillars, and they're black paper cutouts of people. And I mean, it might not sound that weird or anything, just like me saying it, but when you first see them, you're like, gosh, what the heck is this? And then you get into the battle and it's even more creepy because they fold up and everything. It's amazing. I love it. I've said it so many times. There are so many things about this game that I really love. It's just, it has a lot of really bad design issues that drag it down. It could have been an amazing game, but in the end, it ends up a pretty good game. So you go back up to the door, you walk in and you see a hallway filled with cutouts of Bowser's minions and just a bunch of little cut up pieces of them. And it's we talked about this earlier, like with the toads don't have their faces, and if you look into that enough, it's like, oh my gosh, this is really dark. And they're literally cut up on the floor. And that's okay, that's a thing that happened in this game. You walk into the throne room, you see Bowser hanging up by a little pin, as per usual, because he's folded up. I never mentioned he's folded up, but yeah, he's folded up. And yeah, you fight two bosses then. You fight the basically amalgamation of faces Buzzy Beetle, which is a great boss. I love that one. And Kamek helps you out with it because Kamek is stuck to its face, and that's where it's getting all its powers anyway. It's hard to explain. And then you fight the Scissors, which is probably the best boss fight in this entire game. The Scissors boss fight is so good. So the Scissors are cocky. They're really cocky, and they can one-shot you. So they have a means to be cocky about everything, I guess. So he puts on a safety guard to make it a fair fight. So you can break the safety guard early by accident and make it a much harder fight, or you can wait until he's down to half HP and he'll just take it off anyway. But either way, you're going to learn that the Scissors can one-shot you, and if you do not time your jumps correctly when trying to guard, you are dead. Some might say it's cheap, some might say that's just the makings of a bad fight, but I say it's the makings of a wonderful fight, and a very memorable one at that. So now Bowser's back. He prepares an airship for us, and there's just this one moment I need to talk about before we kind of speed run to the end of this, which is when boarding the airship, all of his minions and everything, everyone is getting ready and everything, and there's a troop of bob-ombs, and Olivia sees them and says, Bobby, basically like, okay, he's back and everything, but like, it's just bob-ombs. And it kind of plays with that fact that there are no original characters in this game, and everyone is just set to be what they are, a bob-omb in this case. And he has no identity, and I like how it plays with that fact a little bit and kind of like mocks it in a way, I guess. Like it, I don't know, I thought that was a really interesting scene that they went with there, and I enjoyed it. So once you get on the airship, there's a whole battle with paper airplanes and everything, and you get to control it, and you can use motion or sticks. I use sticks because I'm not a big fan of the motion controls in this game. I mean, it would have worked there, but I was just like, I don't know, the 1,000-fold arms, doing the motion, I did it like 3 times, and I was like, okay, I'd rather do this with sticks, so I did. And then I was already like, okay, I don't really want to use motion controls right now, I guess, because I'm just not feeling it, so I didn't. Anyway, you fight the paper airplanes, they take you out anyway in the end, and you crash into the bottom of the volcano that Peach's castle has landed on. There's a whole chase sequence here, and you lose Bowser Jr. and Kamek along the way, and there's some touching moments where Bowser talks about his parenting philosophy and everything, and I love it when they actually go into that and show Bowser as a father to Jr. and play with that dynamic, because it's always fun. It's always fun when they do that. Just like thinking about the parental controls videos for the Switch and everything, and I'm just like, yeah, make that canon. Make that kind of father-son relationship between them canon, because it's so cute. I love it. We're finally here, Peach's castle, and guess who's there to greet us at the front door, other than Luigi, and he has a key this time. Well, actually, no, he doesn't have a key this time. Well, he doesn't think he has a key, but he does have a key. It's been stuck in the back of his go-kart in this entire time, guys, you know. So yeah, that was fun. You walk inside, Luigi gets thrown into the dungeon again. That's fun. Peach leads us to Ollie. Ollie's all like, why the heck you guys doing this? Why you be doing this to me? Why you taking away my streamers? Why you trying to ruin my life's plan to make everything origami and fold the world? And we're just like, because, man. And he's just like, okay, I'm going to turn Peach's castle into Origami Castle now. So he does. And the Origami Castle is a really good final level, I'd say. It's pretty challenging. It's pretty challenging. And if you fall in those this little fortune-telling things at the bottom of the stuff, that's like 100 HP gone. And I only had like a 180 at this point. So that was kind of unforgiving. Towards the end of the castle, you fight the final of the Legion of Stationery, which is the Stapler. And this is another pretty good fight. I did enjoy this one. And then once it is over, yeah, the Stapler was the one that stapled Bowser. That's why he can't unfold himself. So now Bowser is unfolded, and it's fun. I like seeing Bowser unfolded. But I'm also like, okay, this is a little weird. Just having a giant Bowser and Mario run around together. I don't know. Something is unnerving about that to me, but I kind of love it at the same time. Only thing is, this is it. This is it. Where we go up those stairs. Final boss, Origami King time, and too bad I couldn't mosey around with Bowser all around the world. That would be fun, but no, I have to go fight the final boss. Wow. Ollie reveals his plan to basically fold 1,000 paper cranes and get a free magical wish, I guess, so he can turn everything into origami, or basically just eliminate the toads. And you learn about his motivations, which is, as I said, the biggest flaw in Ollie's character, which is basically because the origami craftsman, I can say words, wrote something on him. He says scribbled on him, and he basically thinks that degrades him, and he's very mad at the craftsmanship person for that, and it's basically like a permanent scar on his body, and all toads must pay for it, because all toads are apparently the same. You just need to see one, you know them all. And that's a bigger discussion right there that Ollie gets into. But that's, I don't know, it's kind of like a lackluster motivation, to be honest. I feel like if the Toad did something a little more serious to him, it would have worked a bit better, but he just kind of scribbled on him a bit. And voice crack. But anyway, you go and do the final boss battle, and the final boss battle is amazing. It's really good. It's 3 phases. You have the regular ring phase. You have one with Bowser as a giant origami person, and that's great. And then you have the final phase, which is you arranging a puzzle to use your final 1,000-fold arms with Olivia's giant hammer technique. And I love that part too, even with the QuickTime events. The QuickTime events actually felt cool for once. That's like one of the first times I've actually liked QuickTime events, you know? And yeah, so you beat Ollie. It's a really good fight. But the thing is, then you find out what the origami craftsman person, I can't even say it. I don't even know what it is anymore. It's just origami. Just call him origami. What origami wrote on him? King Ollie, I hope you are an amazing, kind king, or something like that. And it's just like, dang. Ollie, you're so dumb. That's the one thing that kind of just like scratches me the wrong way about this ending, because everything else is so good. And as you see, like, Ollie dies. He dies there. He's like, okay, I'm done for. Olivia used my body to fold the last paper crane and make a wish to undo what I did, basically. And then the Origami Craftsman, Luigi, and Kamek and Bowser Jr. show up. Just crash through the window. And when they do, the Origami Craftsman teaches Olivia how to fold the final crane, which is Ollie. And then she makes a wish that all of the origami her brother folded is undone. And it's another moment kind of like the Bobby moment, because then you start to realize that means Olivia too. She's gone too, because she was folded by her brother. And that's another really sad moment. I tell you guys, this game it gets you sometimes. It really does, because you spend this whole adventure with Olivia, really grow to like her, at least I did, and then she's gone. And they're not going to use her again. I mean, that's probably why they did it, just because they're like, okay, we made a character, but we can't keep that character, so we better kill him off by the end. But it is still sad. It's a bittersweet ending, I'd say, which is interesting for a Mario game. And yeah, that's the Origami King. That's going through the entire story, at least, and kind of my thoughts on it. Overall thoughts. As I said, I think this game is really good. It could have been really great, but it wasn't. So, okay, I talked a little bit about this earlier, but I think they should have leaned in on either the exploration or either the RPG stuff, or if they, because it seems like they can't do both of them right, I guess. You can't apparently ask for a Paper Mario game that's an RPG and actually has a really compelling world anymore. You can't do that. It either has to be one or the other. So Paper Mario the Origami King tries to do it all, but falls flat in a lot of areas at the same time. It's a good game with a lot of small flaws that drag it down. And would I recommend you get it and play through it? I mean, that's kind of a personal preference thing, I'd say, but I would say I really enjoyed the game. I would recommend it if you're into adventure games and don't mind a bit of puzzling, I guess. I enjoyed the game. That's my final verdict, I'd say. Paper Mario the Origami King is a fun game. It's not the best game. It has a lot of problems. But it's a fun game. Has a lot of great moments. And I don't think you'd regret playing it. But that's just my opinion. So thank you guys for watching / listening to this very long review of Paper Mario the Origami King, where I just literally talk about all of it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm planning on maybe doing this for more games whenever they come out. I don't know. Nintendo might not even release another game this year, but I like the idea. I might have some more people on in the future too, just to make it like a whole discussion thing. That could be fun. So tell me if you like it, because I would love to hear the feedback. I kind of want to do more. With that said, make sure you subscribe, like the video if you did enjoy it, and yeah, I will see you guys soon with more stuff. Probably next week. I'm trying to do a video a week. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm trying to hold myself to that. We'll see how long I can do it. But yeah, thank you all for the support. It means a lot to me. And have a wonderful day. Just a great one. Really good day. See you guys later.